All right, everybody, welcome back. So I've seen a couple of questions that keep coming up on a couple of these Facebook groups lately. One is how often should I be changing my filter media, and the other one has to do with what order you should put things in a canister filter. So I figured I would just show how I have mine. The first answer to how often you should be changing your filter media is never, unless something goes terribly wrong. I can't really even think of an example. Maybe some kind of medication contaminates it or something. I don't really know. But really, I mean, you should never change your filter media. Occasionally, you might have to change these sponges if they're too filthy or something like that. But there's no reason really to change any of this stuff. Chemicals. That's the one thing that you will have to change if you're using Purigen or Carbon, or in the case of reef tanks, GFO, which you could use GFO in a freshwater too, but you always see them in reef tanks for removing phosphates. If you're having a phosphate issue, look up GFOs. But anyway, chemical stuff you'll have to either regenerate, like Purigen, you can bleach it, or you throw it away and replace, like Carbon or GFO. But otherwise, you should never have to replace this stuff. So that's the short answer. That's the whole answer. Just don't. This is a matrix, so whatever you're using, this stuff you'll never have to replace. Rings, bio balls. Rinse it, if it's covered in junk, and otherwise leave it alone. So what I do for a canister here, just pretty much like everybody else does, it's a bucket of tank water, which I have going up to the tank. Sorry, dog's barking. So that goes up to the tank, and I close the valve, so as this water gets too mucky, if it does, I can dump it and just put in a little bit more water. But so anyway, so I just kind of dunk stuff in there. So this is a little Fluval 305. Got two of them on the 75, and they're pretty good little filters. If anybody's interested in a review of it, I'm sure that they're on YouTube, but if anybody wants to see a review, I can do that. So just let me know. So you can see the bottom of the canister, that's where it picks up most of the heavy stuff, right? The physical detritus will typically collect down here. That's old Carbon, I think. I don't know, but anyway, just sort of junk collects down there. And so your typical canister filter, I know the Fluvals, I know the Suns go from the bottom up. So the water will feed in through the head up here, go all the way to the bottom where it collects all the big stuff, and then from the bottom up we'll hit this tray, this tray, this tray, and then back up into the tank. So that being the case, we always want mechanical filtration to happen first from most coarse to least coarse. So the first thing, in the case of the Fluvals, this one's done a little strange, but these are the coarse foam pads here. They're actually pretty clean. I thought I'd have to knock some more junk out. These are actually pretty good. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of wring those out just to knock out. There you go. You can see the big stuff that's just sort of falling off. So that is the the coarse foam. Next, if I can get these to separate. More of that loose Carbon. I don't know where that stuff keeps coming from. I don't even use Carbon. I did get these used though in a deal with another tank. If I can get these things to separate. Hold on just a sec. There we go. Okay, so the bottom one again is foams, right? Because it hits this bottom tray first. So we've got the coarse foam that it goes through. In the case of the Fluval, it's on the side, but most of the time your bottom tray will be coarse foam, and then it hits medium foam, and then hits fine foam or polishing pad. A lot of people use batting material, which works well. I don't have any in these little canisters, but again, I mean, this is it. You rinse out, just sort of wring them out, and tank water. Some people use tap water. I don't advise it. I know Jay Wilson, that's what he says he does with his, and apparently that works if you've seen his tanks. So You know, can't argue with it, but I don't. I use dirty tank water, just to keep all the beneficial bacteria alive. But again, really these need to get into a tank pretty quick, into water, so the bacteria doesn't die. But so again, we go through the coarse foam first, and then we go through medium foam, and then the water comes up through fine foam. After that, the water is physically clean, and then it just needs to go through media. So I have rings, which really, I think I'll replace those with Matrix as well. Probably not today. But anyway, so it goes through that, and then this. And I think at some point, I'm probably going to put some more filter floss on top just to catch any fines that may come off of this stuff, but it's clean. It does feel a little powdery, so I don't know. But anyway, that's the idea. So if anybody's wondering, you should never replace your actual filter media. Your foam pads and things like that, you will have to replace as they start falling apart, but that's few and far between. And your chemical stuff, Purigen, carbon, GFO, things like that, you will have to replace as they wear out. There's no real good time period. You know, sometimes they'll say 3 months or 6 months or a year or whatever, but really it depends on your tank and your load and you know, things like that. You have to watch for things like it not working anymore or changing colors. GFO is good for that. It'll actually turn a nasty color. So I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, let me know. And like I said, if you want to see a review of the Fluval 305, overall I like it, but I could do sort of an in-depth thing if anybody wants to see it. So let me know. Thanks for watching, and keep on tanking. All right, I got it all back together, and two things occurred to me. One, on the subject of canisters, and really any filter, but specifically canisters are bad for this. Anytime you service it, you should then, once you get it going again, watch it for drips, right? Like I've got a little bit of drip here on this side. I don't even know if you can see it, but it's super minor, and I don't think it's gonna keep going. But anyway, anytime you mess with a canister, watch it for a little while to make sure that it's not dripping, because if it is, that little bit of drip will add up fairly quick. The second thing that I realized that I forgot was the reason. Sorry, it looks pretty cloudy. I'm doing water changing and all that stuff, but the reason that you don't throw away your media ever is because that is where the bacteria lives, right? Like there's no, your media is not falling apart. In some cases it will, you know, it will come apart a little bit, but if you're using like crushed coral or something like that, it could. But it's such a long-term thing that it's just not going to happen in the vast majority of tanks, especially if you're using like bio rings or bio balls or something like that. Matrix, I've never seen Matrix fall apart or wear down, although I guess it could. But anyway, that's where the bacteria lives. You just don't need to replace it. And keep an eye on your filters after you service them, just to make sure they're not dripping. Just something that I've learned over time. So anyway, thanks for watching. Keep tanking, and we'll see you out there.